Hello, my name is Addie, and today I want to share about my experience having a spiritual awakening in high school, what really led up to that, how it happened, and what I'm doing now, which I'm still in high school, but we'll get to that. And I really want to just first say that I want to make this video because I googled this topic and I only found like one article online about it and maybe one video. I was a little bit surprised that there wasn't more information about it or people talking about it, but I'm not sure if it's a super common thing, but I think that with things changing the way they are now, it's going to be more common for people to be experiencing this in high school. So hopefully by putting this out there, someone who is either going through this or knows someone who's going through this can benefit from it. And definitely reach out to me if you want to talk or you just need a friend or some kind of support, because that can be challenging going through this at the age, or just in general. It doesn't matter what age you are. Age is irrelevant in my mind. So yeah, okay, so for me, this starts mostly when I was in middle school, but for my whole life I'd been empathic, and I'd have really bad panic attacks when I was little. And so not even knowing what empathic means or that you are empathic kind of will take its toll at some point. So in about 7th grade, I just kind of, since it's a larger container of energy, that moving to a bigger school, middle school, and there's a lot of people who are going through a lot of mental and emotional changes and puberty and stuff. It's kind of a lot of energy to deal with. So it really did start to weigh on me, because I got very frustrated that I didn't know why I felt the way that I was feeling or where it was coming from, because of course everyone has a bunch of little traumas that happen throughout their life, but I didn't have any large trauma or one instance where I could kind of point my fingers at and be like, this is why I feel the way that I do, and that really frustrated me that I didn't have anything like that, because I didn't feel deserving of even expressing or feeling the emotions that I had. So I kind of just felt like I shouldn't be feeling them, which of course doesn't help me not feel them. It kind of just makes it worse. So in 7th grade I started getting like pretty depressed and just anxious all the time, and I started dealing with self-harm, which lasted until sophomore year of high school. But it was off and on. It wasn't like consistent, but it was something that I usually would go back to. And so yeah, I kind of would go in and out of mental states. I'd be happy for a little while, and then I'd kind of go back, and I was just very confused because I didn't know what I was feeling, why I felt different. So sophomore year of high school, it kind of just went downhill a little bit real quick. I moved to a new school, and I thought it would be better moving to a new school, but I felt worse, so that even made me even more upset with myself, and I'd have really bad panic attacks. I'd have to leave school all the time because of social anxiety and just anxiety, and just the self-harm got worse that year, and yeah, so it kind of got a little bit worse beginning of sophomore year, and then towards the middle of sophomore year, there was this guy that I'd been friends with since 7th grade, or I'd been friends with since 8th grade. He was in 7th grade. But it was kind of like an emotional support friendship for a while, and then we started hanging out during sophomore year while I was in this mental state, and then he was this like person who kind of seemed like he had his stuff together, which was nice. And the night he asked me to be his girlfriend, we were at a lake, and an hour later I was driving home from the lake with him in the car. And I went too fast around a corner, and this was like a month after I got my driver's license too, so I went too fast around a corner and flipped the car. I got in a car accident, obviously, and that was kind of an interesting way to start a relationship with a sort of like impact shared trauma like that. I fractured my collarbone. He was fine. But yeah, so that was a very interesting way to start a relationship like that, and we dated for about half a year, and towards the end of the relationship, I was obviously dealing with this kind of, these mental and emotional negative states, and he kind of tried to get me out of that, but only you can help yourself, and I didn't really want to help myself. I kind of just wanted to be in that and have someone to lean on. So we kind of just went separate ways. It started to just be an unhealthy situation. So when he broke up with me, it was like this person that I kind of created my whole identity around for the past however long was extracting themselves from my life, and I realized that I didn't know who I was, and for a very long time I didn't know who I was, and that was a very scary feeling for me. So I realized that I did not want to feel that way, so I didn't want to feel those emotions, and I wanted to just be better and be happier, so I started to do that, which was good, but I wasn't letting myself feel those other emotions, so that would come back to me. But about a month later, my friend and I, we were both kind of just on this self-destructive path, and we decided that it would be fun to do mushrooms. So we got mushrooms, and we're just in it for the recreational experience, did not know what actually was going to happen. And I'm kind of one of those, like, go big or go home. I was trying to think of what it was, and I was saying go all or go home, but it's go big or go home kind of people. So I was like, I'm just going to eat my whole serving all at once. And then I was like 30 minutes in, and I was like, it's not working for me. I'm not feeling anything. But then it really hit me, and it took a really dark spin. It kind of brought up all these emotions from the relationship, and then all these emotions from the past, and everything kind of involved with that, and all the things that I'd picked up from people. And so for about 3 or 4 hours, it was just this really, really intense purging experience. It was the most excruciatingly painful and intense experience of my entire life, and I think it probably will be for the rest of my life, that most excruciatingly painful thing. And it was the mental, spiritual, and emotional pain of an actual death. And this term, ego death, is, I feel like, used a lot, and sometimes in the wrong situations or overused in certain ways, but that was literally what it was for me. It was a death of my ego, all the things that I had attached to myself for my entire life and built around me as my identity. And obviously you can't kill your whole ego without killing yourself, because your body is a part of your ego. I'll make other videos on that. But so yeah, it was just a very, very intense purging experience of everything that I'd ever picked up from other people, and it was just from like the beginning of my life all the way until that moment, every single painful thing that I'd ever experienced. So it was kind of just like a lot in like 3 hours, but in that experience time was very irrelevant, and it felt like an eternity that I was experiencing that. So I actually thought that I was dying, like I literally thought that I was going to die. And then my friend made tea, and I started sipping on the tea. It kind of got to a point where I just couldn't, there was just nothing else for me to let go of. I was just nothing. I had extracted all of these things that I thought was me, and I didn't know who I was for a good, like, however, it was like a period in between the bad part and the good part. Bad and good. So I started drinking tea, and I remember we went outside, and the next 3 or 4 hours was the most elating and liberating experience of my entire life. And I just remember the colors got really bright, and it was like, because I had just gotten rid of everything, I was left with nothing except for my pure essence. I had stripped it all the way down to that core essence of myself and of source and of just all that is, the pure oneness of everything. And that was the first time in my life that I'd experienced that level of unconditional love for myself and just for everything that is. And it was the most beautiful experience. And for like a couple hours, it was just straight pure downloads from like my soul and from source. And just why I came here, where I was before in my past lives, and how it led me to here, and everything in my life, every step along the way, how it led me to that very moment, and how that was my moment to have that experience so that I could do this work from that age into the future. And that was really, really cool. It was like a lot of information at once, but it was very needed. And yeah, and so the next day, when I woke up, I was expecting to kind of just feel the same way that I did the day before and go back to my usual state of mind, but I woke up and I just knew that I would never be the same, and I just felt different, and I knew that my whole life was going to be different from that point on, and it has been, and it will be for my entire life has been changed from that. And yeah, so that was kind of like a peak experience where it was like, this is what the truth is, this is what can be. And then when I came back, it dropped me off back down where I was, but a few steps higher and with a different perspective, so that I could get on my journey and have that peak experience as a motivation to work towards that. And that's what I've been doing. And so for a few months after that, I really worked on self-healing, and I was remembering how to do energy work because I'd done that before, not in this life, but others. And I was remembering all of these things that I knew how to do and that I knew about myself. It was a really fun few months afterwards because it was just rapid expansion, just rapid, like everything was changing so fast for me. And I just was picking up things from people, and I was able to discern what was mine and what was not my energy. And that was really cool to be able to use this gift that I'd had, or I wouldn't even say gift because everyone has the ability to be empathic and most people are naturally. So I was able to use that in a productive way to help myself and help others, and not just have it be self-destructive for myself. And that was really cool. And also seeing energy, and that was crazy for me because I'd always hear people be like, oh, I can see auras and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, that's kind of crazy, like, why are you seeing things? But when I actually saw it for myself, I was like, okay, wow, this is real, and it's actually super awesome and useful, and it's not crazy, it's totally a normal, awesome thing. So that was really cool for me, and it's fun in high school because there's usually like plain colored walls and like people at the front of the walls where you can really practice seeing that, which I'll make probably other videos on because that's a fun exercise to do if you're in high school and you're watching this, or if you're anywhere. Again, age is irrelevant to me, but yeah. So and then I have like, I'm looking over here at my very large stack of books. I read a ginormous amount of books in a very short amount of time, and it was just, I was like a sponge, and I was just taking in all of this information, and it was just craziness filling myself. And it's gotten to a point, honestly, where I've kind of taken too much in, and I like can't, and I haven't been able to really express that to other people very well, because it's kind of hard to find that kind of audience when you're at that age. But this is kind of also why I'm making YouTube videos, so I have that way of expressing myself and having an equal amount of input and output. So, when I was 17, I started working at a yoga studio, and I started practicing yoga and took yoga teacher training within like 3 months, and it was a 200-hour yoga teacher training, and that program for me was a super grounding experience, and for a lot of people it was like kind of these mind-opening ideas, and for me it was super helpful because I'd had all these ideas, but it was very ungrounded because from the time of the mushrooms until that point it was all of this this energy of like higher realms for me. I was like trying to develop psychic abilities, and just like a lot of up in the ethers, very ungrounded. And so when this person, the teacher of the teacher training, when he was explaining all of these spiritual concepts and putting them in such a practical and grounded way that I could really integrate into my life and use and teach and share with other people in an integrative way, like that was so extremely helpful for me to feel grounded, and doing the physical practice of yoga is very grounding as well. So that's definitely something I will recommend. And if yoga is not your thing, if you've tried it and you're like not into it, there's definitely other things that you can do to help put you in your body. I'll probably make a different video about that because that's really extremely important and very helpful. So yeah, I taught a few kids classes after that, but I've for a while had 2 jobs, and with the high school thing it's just kind of like a lot. Plus I think I want my yoga practice to be my personal practice for a while until I feel ready to share that with other people. Yeah, I think that's good. And let's see, what else was I going to talk about? Where am I at now? Now I'm 18, and let's see, I'm a senior in high school, and yeah, I don't plan on going to university or anything like that, because, or community college or any sort of college, because I know that none of the classes there and that experience would not be beneficial to me. And don't get me wrong, for some people college is the way that they're supposed to go, it's the path they're supposed to take, but for others it's not, and college is not the only option. You do not have to go to college, but for some people they are supposed to go to college. For me, not so much. Like, that's not my path, and that is okay. And I, for the past few months, have kind of been relaxing with this idea of not having a plan, which is kind of crazy for me because I'm like planner McPlanny over here. I like need to have a plan or else I feel really like crazy. So I've been relaxing into this idea of not having a plan because I know the direction I'm supposed to go in life. I know my motivations, and I know like what I want to do in a sense, so I'm just gonna follow that feeling and trust that things will fall into the right place for me at the right time. And I also know that I changed my mind a whole lot, so I have made many plans, but they have gone away within a span of like weeks or months, or I found something else that's interested me. So I think not having a plan is a good plan for me, but again, for some people having a plan is a good plan, and is what you should be doing. Other people, you don't have to have a plan. It's really like situationally based, and it can be really hard in high school too because there's so much pressure on going to college, and it's been that way for the whole span of your life. It's like you have to go to college after high school or you're not going to amount to anything in life, but that's just simply not true. There's so many other things that you can do besides college. It is not necessary. Yeah. There's all kinds of other schools, like trade schools and stuff that you can go to. It's just not necessary. But for some people it is. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at now. And if you are watching this, hello. If you are going through the same thing and you're in high school, or you know someone who is going through the same thing, please don't be afraid to like comment on this video, even if there's like not a whole bunch of views or like whatever. Like, I'm so open to helping anyone or talking to anyone or just being someone's friend. I'll seriously send you my phone number and like we can have a phone call, we can text. Like, it can be super helpful to have someone in the same age bracket who's going through the same thing. Because when I was going through all this, I didn't have, again, like I looked it up and there was like one article on it online, and I think it was from someone who wasn't like a teenager at all, so it was kind of, it just felt very alone at times. And it feels alone for everyone who goes through a spiritual awakening. And again, age is completely irrelevant, so if you're watching this and you're older and you still want to talk to me, please do. Please do. I'm just like so happy to talk to anybody. And yeah, if you want to share this video with anyone you think might be going through the same thing, please do. But yeah, I really hope that this can reach out to some people and help you just feel like you're not very alone. And I think that there are more people out there that are going through this at a young age because it's becoming more common for everyone, and age is irrelevant. So if you're going through this, please reach out to me. And stick around because I hopefully will be making a lot more videos about topics, and I'm open to suggestions. If anyone has if anyone has anything they want me to make a video about, tell me and I will do my best to do so. So thank you so much for watching this if you watched the whole thing, and I really hope that you were able to get something out of it. Thank you.